Tonight, rising from the ashes.
Gives me goosebumps because May 13th I thought my world fell apart, and now I see it coming back together slowly.
As Manitoba ends its state of emergency, we return to a wildfire zone slowly rebuilding. Also tonight, safety overdue.
The amount of incidents that are coming out of Millennium is disturbing.
Why Winnipeg's downtown library has closed its entire 4th floor. Plus, havoc with harvest.
Well, they picked the worst time of year to address that issue.
Why some farmers say provincial road work is putting the brakes on getting grain to market.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The state of emergency due to wildfires in Manitoba is over. Millions of hectares of forest were reduced to ashes in the worst fire season on record. Thousands of people displaced from their homes. 2 Manitobans even lost their lives. One of the hardest hit areas was in eastern Manitoba, in the area around the town of Lac du Bonnet. CTV's Joseph Bernacki returned there today to see how people are picking up the pieces.
A lot of moving parts.
For the first time since mid-May, Lavina Harding is able to breathe a sigh of relief.
Gives me goosebumps because May 13th I thought my world fell apart, and now I see it coming back together slowly.
Harding lived here on Wendigo Road when a wildfire ripped through the area. It destroyed her home and burned through 8,400 acres of land in the RM of Lac du Bonnet. Her lot is cleared, and just in the last 2 weeks, foundation work began. She's hopeful a roof can be finished before the snow falls.
I'm looking to hope that Mother Nature cooperates and we can get the rest of the foundation completed, and then we can start the build for the actual house itself.
Harding said her seasonal neighbors are still working with insurance companies to start over. Lauren Schinkel, Reeve for the RM, said the challenges due to this fire have made the community shine in a time of darkness.
Well, it's the resilience of the community. You know, you drive around the corner here and you see this devastation, and it almost takes your breath away.
Schinkel has spent weeks of consulting with all levels of government to clean up the RM. This 1.3-kilometer stretch of Wendigo Road was completely rebuilt in July after the fire. While the landscape is just beginning to heal, the community is gathering together for a Hearts and Heroes fundraiser in September.
It's going to be a great evening of celebration, and all of the funds raised from that are going right back into our emergency services in the community.
Mayor Ken Lodge says the celebration is one way to thank all of those who stepped up during the crisis.
All too often, the folks that work for us in our communities like that do not get the recognition that they really need. In a situation like this, it really brought to the forefront how important those folks are, and this is the very least we can do to let them know how much we appreciate them.
Back on Wendigo Road, Lavina Harding says she's looking forward to the event and watching her home come together.
It's all one day at a time and hoping that each aspect goes according to plan.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Lac du Bonnet.
As people in eastern Manitoba rebuild, about 1,000 residents from Snow Lake can now go home. It's been more than 40 days since residents of the northern town were placed under a mandatory evacuation order. Earlier today, that order was officially lifted. The town's mayor says the majority of residents are returning home today, with the rest following over the weekend.
Massive relief, I think, for everybody. I think everyone should be very happy that they actually have a town to come home to. It was very dodgy there for a while, and but our crews were able to stop the fire from coming into town and also stop the fire from burning down the Waller mine, which is the main employer in town. So we dodged a very, very big incident there, and I think everyone should just be very happy and relieved that it's over.
Mayor Ron Scott says wildfires caused little damage to the town itself. He says wildfire crews will remain in the community for the next few weeks to put out hot spots. A welcome center and food bank have been set up at the community hall to help residents get back on their feet. The province says roughly 7,000 residents are still displaced because of wildfires. None of them are in congregate shelters. Police are alerting the public tonight about a convicted sex offender who's been released from custody. Jason Mark Bard is now free after serving a sentence for conviction of aggravated assault and assaulting a police officer. The 35-year-old is expected to live in Winnipeg. Bard has a lengthy criminal record, including convictions for sexual assault with a weapon, forcible confinement, and numerous probation breaches. Police warn he is a high risk to reoffend in a sexually violent manner against women. Anyone with information about Bard is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. The fourth floor of the Millennium Library has been temporarily closed to the public following what the city describes as recent concerning behavior. Police were called to the area Wednesday afternoon responding to a report of a man in distress. Officers were able to speak with him and take him somewhere safe without incident. CTV News has learned this incident did occur on the fourth floor of the library. The city also cited an incident that occurred inside the library earlier this month when a man in his 40s died. At the time, police said the death was not considered suspicious and no further details would be released. Since then, the city says it's been working on a number of potential solutions to improve safety, and the union representing library workers says those solutions are long overdue.
You know, the amount of incidents that are coming out of the Millennium is disturbing, and I can't imagine, you know what some of the workers are going through there when you're coming into work every day and you don't know what to expect next. This is not the type of work that they signed up for. To, you know, they come to work to, work in a library.
CUPE Local 500 President Gord Delbridge says members want to see permanent safety measures in place, like increased staffing and security and more training for mental health awareness and addictions. Councillor Vivian Santos, chair of the city's Community Services Committee, says the fourth floor could reopen to the public as early as next week. Ontario police have arrested a semi-driver wanted for a crash that claimed the lives of a mother and her 8-year-old daughter near Altona last November. Navjeet Singh was arrested at Pearson International Airport after arriving in Toronto yesterday morning. Last November, the Brampton, Ontario semi-driver was charged with dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing death, as well as obstructing a peace officer, and a Canada-wide arrest warrant was issued. 35-year-old Sarah Unger and her daughter Alexa died after their SUV was hit by a semi. Police say failed to stop at the intersection of provincial roads 201 and 306. Singh will now be escorted back to Manitoba by RCMP in the coming days. As harvest gets underway, some farmers south of Winnipeg say a road closure is going to prevent them from getting their grain to market. The province is about to begin working on drainage culverts just south of LaSalle near Glenlea and Floodway roads. But one resident says closing the area to traffic will have a big impact on the local farming community. CTV's Harrison Shin shows you why.
This is just poor planning and timing.
Floodway Road surrounds Dustin Weens' family farm in the RM of McDonald. He recently noticed the route will be closed starting on August 25th, and that closure will last for almost 2 months. But he says nobody told him that.
Consultation would have been very nice. We didn't hear anything.
For Weens, the timing couldn't be worse. It's harvest time in Manitoba, and transporting the wheat he produces out to market will take longer without this road open.
I have 80 loads of grain coming here in the next 2-3 weeks, and this will add another 15-20 minutes to each load. So this is all gravel around here. We don't have highway till 5 miles that way or 5 miles at the 75 highway or the 330. And by closing this vital artery, we don't have a side road that we can just bypass this with a heavy truck like this. We'll have to add extra miles on to find a road that can take the weight of a truck like this.
And Wayne says added time can be costly.
That's a slower harvest. If rain comes, it gets rained on, it degrades the grain. We'll now go from a number 1 wheat to a feed wheat, which in the end could cost me $50 to $100, if not more than $100,000 in poor quality.
In a statement, a spokesperson for province said the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure is installing a culvert and had been in contact with the RM of McDonald. They say the department will work to minimize how long the road will be closed. A fellow farmer says, regardless, more notice should have given earlier.
If there's a farmer, say, out from Brunkild who sold grain in this area, he's not going to check the roads ahead of time because he's hauled that way all the time.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, RM of McDonald.
Soggy conditions have yet again delayed the Manitoba Open Golf Championship. Heavy rains overnight Wednesday soaked Breezy Bend Golf Course in Headingley. Yesterday's opening round was canceled. Play was supposed to resume this morning, but the course was still too wet. Organizers today posted golfers will now tee off tomorrow morning. The tournament has been reduced to 36 holes. Let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. There was some wind today that maybe dried up that standing rain.
But it's bringing with it a few showers as well. It's all part of an upper low that's been crossing Manitoba over the last couple of days. It's dumped an awful lot of rain on parts of northern Manitoba, and you can see it wrapping back around down here into the south. We've had some on again, off again showers passing through the Winnipeg area. So this will continue throughout the night. A little bit more rain yet to come, but for the most part, it's making its way on out of the province. It will be a cool weekend here in the south by late August standards, but fear not if you're wondering, is this it for the end of summer? It's not. There'll be some warmer temperatures coming next week as well. I'll show you those soon. Let's take a look right now, though, first through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, it is 18 degrees, winds out of the west at 24 kilometers an hour with wind gusts up to 35. The pressure is dropping, and the humidity right now, merrily, is 69%.
Thanks, Colleen. Hockey Manitoba has parted ways with its longtime executive director. Yesterday, the association announced it terminated the employment of Peter Woods on August 15th. Woods was not named in the short statement, nor was a reason given for his dismissal. A spokesperson for Hockey Manitoba tells CTV News the board of directors, quote, have chosen to go in a different direction. Woods served as executive director of Hockey Manitoba since 2001. CTV News has reached out to Woods for comment, but haven't yet received a response. It's going to be a weekend of heavy campaigning in southwestern Manitoba. 3 people are running in a provincial by-election in the riding of Spruce Woods. PC candidate Colleen Robbins, the NDP's Ray Berthollet, and Liberal Stephen Reid will all be on the ballot. Voting day is Tuesday. CTV's Jeff Keel was in the area today and sets up the race.
Spruce Woods is a rural Manitoba seat that stretches into the north part of Brandon. It's a traditional PC stronghold, which the NDP is trying to take.
It's an election buying to buy the voters. Our strategic decision was to have the Premier as a team.
The seat became vacant when PC MLA Grant Jackson jumped to federal politics. The Tory candidate is nurse and longtime Conservative volunteer Colleen Robbins. She says infrastructure, affordability and health care are top of mind on the doorstep.
This government had promised in their last election that they had the plan, they were going to fix it, and everything's gotten worse.
The PCs won the seat in the last general election with more than 60% of the vote, so Robbins may have an edge.
But most of the riding is in surrounding rural towns where the Conservatives have traditionally done better than the NDP.
But there has been a big push from Premier Wab Kinew and the NDP. Kinew and some of his ministers made several funding announcements in the area prior to the election blackout period. He's visited here several times and his face is on a number of campaign signs.
No surprise from a political strategic point of view. You know, the leader, Wab Kinew, is one of the most popular premiers in the country.
The NDP candidate is Ray Berthollet, a former realtor and executive assistant to Brandon MLA Glenn Samard. Berthollet also says healthcare and infrastructure are issues, as well as representation.
In the 7 years the Conservatives were in, they talked, they had lists, but you know what? From knocking on doors, they didn't talk to people.
And while this is seen as a two-way race between the PCs and NDP, Stephen Reid, a high school teacher who is running for the Liberals, says as voters learn more about the candidates, he's seeing a shift towards his campaign.
I am the steadfast leader who is going to collaborate with both parties, and I think now more than ever, Manitobans need that.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Brandon.
Manitoba's opposition Tories say Premier Wab Kinew isn't playing fair during this election campaign. In fact, the Conservatives say he's breaking the law. The PCs are sounding the alarm over this social media post.
And now we're announcing also that stretch from Souris to Delo is going to get fixed thanks to our candidate Ray Berthollet putting that on the agenda, listening to you. So on August 26th, when you choose the road ahead here in Spruce Woods, please lend Ray your vote.
The PCs say Kinew made a new government promise in the video just days ahead of the Spruce Woods by-election. And Tory leader Abhi Khan says it violates a section of the Elections Act, which forbids government from promoting its programs or activities during a campaign.
It's very clear that the Premier is using his seat as the Premier as the leader of the NDP, to influence and to buy votes in Spruce Woods. He's done this throughout this entire campaign. $300 million wasn't enough. Right before he calls the by-election, realized that they're not going to win Spruce Woods, he now resorts to breaking the law.
Khan has filed a complaint with the Commissioner of Elections saying Canoe was using publicly funded staff to run his social media accounts. CTV News got this statement from an NDP spokesperson saying, quote, "We're proud of our party's campaign commitment to fixing Highway 2 for the residents of Westman. This complaint is a baseless attempt from the PCs to distract from the fact they did nothing for rural infrastructure for 7 years." Winnipeg City Hall is helping the city's Ukrainian community celebrate an important moment in their homeland's history. Today, a Ukrainian flag went up outside Winnipeg City Hall to mark Ukrainian Independence Day. On August 24th, that is the day Ukraine declared independence after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Ukrainian independence has more meaning than ever with the ongoing war in Russia. The flag is a source of pride for Winnipeg's 100,000-strong Ukrainian community.
The Ukrainians have made an important contribution. We were trailblazers here, and we take pride in saying we're Ukrainians here in Manitoba.
On Sunday, there is a free celebration at the Access Center in West St. Paul from 1:30 to 10. Well, some downtown streets are closed tonight for the Canadian Elite Basketball League Championship celebration. Hargrave, Carleton, and Edmonton streets are all closed between Portage Avenue and St. Mary Avenue. One lane, however, on these streets is open for access to parkades only. Graham Avenue is also closed all the way to Edmonton. Those streets won't open again until Monday at noon. And live tonight at the basketball party is CTV's John Hendricks. John, what's going on?
A lot of fun, Marilee. You should see it down here. There's an awful lot of people who have come downtown all to celebrate the Winnipeg Sea Bears and, of course, the Canadian Elite Basketball League Championships. Now, much like when the Winnipeg Jets have their whiteout parties, that is exactly what is going on downtown tonight. There's all sorts of activities that are free for people to take part in all weekend long, including a lot of live entertainment. As you can see on the stage behind me, there is performers who are going to be singing. They're going to be here all weekend long. On Saturday, Sean Desmond will be performing, but there's a lot more than just music going on. There's also a lot of activities for people to take part in. Over there, as you can see behind me, there is a bunch of just different games that you can play, from tapes and ladders to giant Jenga. There's another thing that they also have going on around here, and that is, of course, basketball related. You're able to go and try and sink a basket. Now, earlier on, I was trying to do it. It didn't go well, but coming up a little later, I'm going to go ahead and try again, and so we'll all see how it goes. I'm pretty confident this time I'm going to be able to sink a basket.
Well, our producer can be warned now to put some extra time in the show because it took several attempts.
It may take a while.
Last hour. Wishing you luck, John. All right, we'll check back in with you in a bit. Canada is removing some retaliatory tariffs in the ongoing dispute with the United States. We're going to show you what is affected and why our itch-free summer may not last too much longer. That and more local news still on the way. Taking a look at the markets tonight, the price of oil jumped 14 cents U.S. The Canadian dollar climbed just above 72 cents. Gold rose more than $36. The TSX added 277 points. The Dow Jones soared 846 points, while the Nasdaq is up 396 points. Mosquitoes may be making a late summer arrival here in Manitoba. Recent rains mean mosquito larvae that have been dormant for most of the summer could spring to life. You may have already noticed it's been a relatively mosquito-free summer so far. Average insect trap counts have been low, with a maximum average of just 7 insects per trap. It means Winnipeg's insect control branch has not had to do any fogging this summer. But with at least 6 weeks to go in the mosquito season, that could change.
The soils are getting saturated, and it's leading to more standing water than we've seen. And it's, definitely Our main nuisance mosquitoes, Aedes vexans, is active right up until snowfall, so the season's not over yet.
David Wade says because there's been no fogging, the city now has a stockpile of fogging chemicals which could last another 2 to 3 seasons. Prime Minister Mark Carney is taking a new approach in stalled trade talks with the United States by extending an olive branch of sorts. The Prime Minister announced Canada will remove retaliatory tariffs on some products which comply with the existing North American free trade deal. CTV's Abigail Bimman has more from Ottawa.
After a phone call with the American president yesterday, the Prime Minister is now trying to sell Canadians on the idea that no new deal with the United States is actually the best trade deal in the world.
We're matching what the United States has done, what the president has done. We have the best deal of any country with the United States right now.
As of September 1st, Canada will drop counter tariffs on U.S. goods covered by CUSMA. Those have been an irritant for Trump, and the Prime Minister indicated that in their Thursday phone call, Trump said getting rid of them would kickstart negotiations. Carney saying they're now intensifying. In the Oval Office, the president now saying he wants to be very good to Canada.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice, and we're going to have another call soon. Yeah, we had a very good call.
They're getting closer towards an agreement on trade?
I like them.
Carney is trying to sell this as matching the U.S., using that word multiple times, since the U.S. has no tariffs on CUSMA-exempt goods. But the tariffs that remain from the U.S. on steel and aluminum are higher than Canada's.
We're not raising those today. We've matched the tariffs on autos, similar structure as the U.S. We do have a difference between our tariff on U.S. steel and our tariff on U.S. aluminum. Those are part of the intensive discussions that we're underway right now.
Ahead of the announcement, the Prime Minister brought Cabinet together in a virtual meeting, and the minister responsible for U.S. trade briefed the rest of caucus after. Carney also said the renegotiation of CUSMA could take as long as 18 months to work out. Trade experts say what happens there will be the real issue for the long term. The Prime Minister is also promising a new, quote, industrial strategy in September for all sectors hit by tariffs, mentioning autos and agriculture in particular. The Prime Minister has long talked about diversifying trade partners in the face of the U.S. trade war, and next week he heads to Germany to work on that, bringing along a handful of key ministers with him. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The UN has confirmed famine has taken hold in Gaza City, and if action isn't taken, it will get worse.
It is a famine that asks, but what did you do? A famine that will and must haunt us all.
A new report says more than 500,000 people in the war-torn city are facing starvation, destitution, and death. UN Chief Antonio Guterres calls the situation, quote, a man-made disaster, moral indictment, and a failure of humanity. However, Israel rejects the report, saying the conclusions are based on Hamas lies and ignore extensive humanitarian efforts. The Crown will not appeal Ontario Superior Court Justice Maria Carosia's decision to acquit 5 former World Junior hockey players. The 5 players, Alex Fermenton, Michael McLeod, Carter Hart, Dylan Dubé, and Callan Foote, were found not guilty of sexual assault in July. The case stems from a 2018 incident in which a woman who goes by EM said she was allegedly assaulted in a London, Ontario hotel room by the players. The Crown had 30 days to appeal the decision, but decided against a challenge of the ruling. Hockey Canada officials said they would not comment on the no appeal development. Talks between Canada Post and the Canadian Union of Postal Workers are now being put on hold. Negotiations were scheduled for today, but the Crown Corporation says it needs more time to review this week's offer from the union. Both parties will return to the bargaining table this week after a pause triggered by the Air Canada flight attendant strike. The union is asking for higher wages while allowing for the addition of weekend delivery and part-time workers. Canada Post and the union will meet again Monday. Some encouraging signs on Canada's economy tonight. June numbers show an increase in retail sales by more than 1.5%. CTV's Camille Karamali now on why we're seeing growth when many predicted a recession.
Retail analysts say this growth doesn't necessarily show signs of a super strong economy, but it's not as bad as many expected given the trade war. Retail sales rose 1.5% to more than $70 billion. That's because all 9 Canadian sectors showing either no change or an increase in sales for June. The sectors with the highest increases compared to May: clothing with over 5% growth, building material with supplies with over 2%, and food and beverage seeing more than a 2% increase in sales. Across the country, Ontario saw one of the biggest retail sale increases at over 3%. Quebec remained unchanged, while BC and Alberta saw 1.5% and 1% increases in sales. In May, retail sales slumped, dropping more than 1%, largely because of a fall in vehicle sales, with tariffs on aluminum and steel and the trade war playing a role. But for June, auto sales remained mostly unchanged, climbing less than 1%.
If we talk about, for things from a consumer standpoint, we are still seeing wage gains happening. The labor market is starting to, contract a little bit, but not a heck of a lot yet. It's mostly concentrated in tariff-related sectors where we're starting to see the bleeding happen. And so as a result, consumers are still spending.
As for July, Statistics Canada says retail sales are expected to drop by 0.8%. Kamil Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
We'll head back out to the Canadian Elite Basketball League Championship celebration, where John Hendricks is enjoying the party. And a new study at the University of Manitoba hopes to improve how antidepressants are prescribed for children and youth.
A lot of sunshine in the long-range forecast for Winnipeg. Now, the normal high for this time of year as we start to move into late August is still up around 24 degrees. So a little off the mark by a handful of degrees on Sunday. Sunny, though, 19 degrees, 21 in the sun on Monday. Still sunny Tuesday, up to 25, 26 on Wednesday under a mix of sun and clouds. Still sunny on Thursday with a high right around 25 degrees.
All right, let's go back to the Canadian Elite Basketball League Championship Street Party, which is happening downtown right now. Uh-oh, John Hendricks is trying out for the Sea Bears team.
Marilee, there is a lot of fun to be had down here at this, including attempting to sink a basket. Now, in the 5 o'clock hour, I was unfairly robbed of my attempt to get a basket quickly, and I've determined that the real problem is because I was attempting to do like a real basket overhand. Instead, I'm going to do a granny, and I think this time I should get it right on the first try. So let's give it a try here. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. First try. This is one of those times when it is a lot of fun. A lot of people have been coming here trying to sink baskets. I'm actually joined now by a gentleman here who is watching a lot of people trying to have fun like this and sink the baskets. First of all, how hard is that?
Well, you just showed that you have to have a lot of skill to be able to do it, John.
Skill, ladies and gentlemen, that's what is required. It's a lot of fun, though, isn't it?
It's a lot of fun. I think people are having a lot of fun lining up and having an opportunity to win some prizes.
Now, obviously, I know that you're a volunteer here. You're also a fan of the Sea Bears. Speaking of the fun, how much fun is it getting an opportunity to have our own team and see them play?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to be part of a pro league and to have them here in Winnipeg. It's very exciting. I've been a fan since they've been here, so it's been great.
The game itself is obviously exciting, a lot of fun.
Very exciting game. I love target scoring too. That's probably one of the best things I like about it.
Yeah, this is one of those things that the game itself is fun, and it seems like there is a lot of fun to be had right here on street level throughout the entire weekend. Not only are you able to throw around the basketball, there's also some music and things like that. So, Mayor, I'm going to send it back to you. I'm going to practice a little bit more, and then again, I may give the Sea Bears a call and let them know they've got a point guard that is available on short notice.
I don't think the Sea Bears do granny shots, John.
Sure they do. Well, they will once I'm with the team. Let's put it that way.
You better go back to practicing overhand and report back. Good luck, John.
We'll try both. I'm going to do an over my shoulder one as well, and I'm sure that one will go in as well. It's a. As far as you
Very
know, it
close.
went in.
It's almost there, John.
Close, so close.
All right, thanks, John.
Send it back to you guys.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
I'm calling Brady back now with your complete weekend Skywatch forecast. A lot of people filling up downtown and will be throughout the weekend. How is the weather going to treat them?
Well, you might want to bring a jacket because it's windy, it's cool, and really there wasn't much in the way of sunshine. The weekend, while there will be some sunshine, there's a slight chance of some showers moving through Winnipeg. But if you're heading down this evening, be prepared for a little bit more of that. We have already had showers sweep through in the last hour or two. This is all part of an upper low pressure system that's been moving across the province over the last couple of days. It's dumped way more rain on northern Manitoba than down here on the south. But you can see that circulation comes right sweeping close to the international border and further east into northwestern Ontario. Now, this low is moving off now out of Manitoba and into northern Ontario, but still rain wrapping around in behind it. The bulk of the rain has now come down in the north. You recall there's been a couple of days of rainfall warnings for regions stretching from Lynn Lake right through Thompson out to Gillam and Shamattawa. Environment Canada figures total rainfall amount should come in around 50 to 70 millimeters total. A little bit of that rain yet to fall. The bulk of it's already come through. Wrapping around into tomorrow morning, you can see some of that rain may clip us again here in the southeast, back into northwestern Ontario. And then we'll start to clear out increasingly so by the time we get to Saturday night. And then by Sunday, take a look at this. Lots of sunshine across much of Manitoba, and that sun will eventually make its way into northwestern Ontario as well. So for tonight, we drop down to 12 degrees along the way. There's a chance we might have a shower or two yet sort of scoot through the city. It will be still windy, winds out of the northwest at 30, gusting to 50 kilometers an hour. Those winds will not let up from the northwest tomorrow. 15 degrees in the morning, a mix of sun and cloud, but maybe leaning a little bit more toward mostly cloudy skies. Mix of sun and cloud into the afternoon, again with a low chance of some showers and a high there up around 18 or so degrees. The UV index for Saturday is 6 or high. So that's a look at the radar right now with those showers coming through. I'm going to show you some weather photos now, and coming up a little later on, I will have your full provincial forecast. This photo takes us out to Notre Dame de Lourdes. That photo is from Diane looking up at that beautiful sky. And this next one is some fog that Carol and Jason spotted out for a walk in the Pinawa area. Email us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, some people with disabilities say they are not receiving their government benefits.
I don't got a paycheck, and I got no food.
What's happening with the payments and what's being done about it? That story just ahead. Mental illness affects an estimated 1.2 million children and youth in Canada. Depression, anxiety, and OCD are among the most common disorders. And while there is medication that can help, it doesn't work well for all. Now, a new study underway at the University of Manitoba hopes to change that. Joining me now to talk more about how is Dr. Abdullah Marouf, who is leading up that study. Dr. Marouf, good to speak with you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Before we get to your study, can you first tell us a bit about what some of the issues youth are having right now when taking antidepressants?
Yeah, so the antidepressants are the first-line therapy for common mental health disorders for these kids, and these are increasingly being prescribed for kids for treating conditions like depression, anxiety, and OCD. Now, these drugs are typically or generally very effective and well tolerated, but some kids don't get any benefits from this drug, or they develop or experience adverse effects which they should not be having taking these drugs. For example, hyperactivity, irritability, and finding a suitable antidepressant that works for these kids, it's a clinically challenging process, and it takes months to years to find a suitable antidepressant that can work for them. And this journey to find an antidepressant that will work for that kid, it's a long journey, and it's sometimes frustrating. So these are the challenges that we face in prescribing these drugs.
You are looking to actually personalize this treatment. How do you hope to do this through your study?
Yeah, so as I said, like there are two groups of kids. So some kids take this drug, they are tolerating it well, they are getting the benefits, and another group isn't getting the benefits or experience adverse effects, which ultimately leading to they discontinue the drug. So we want to compare the genomic profile and hopefully or potentially want to find out if genetic variants amongst us can answer why some kids are tolerating it well compared to the kids that are not benefits from this drug. So we can develop or personalize some genetic tool that can be used, or we can give it to the healthcare providers to personalize these medications to find out the ideal antidepressant or the drug or the dose, or maybe in some cases an alternative option for kids who are at risk of developing adverse effects due to these drugs.
You're actually looking for participants to take part in your study. What is the criteria, and what will those taking part be asked to do?
Yeah, so we are looking for Manitoba children and youth 6 to 24 years who have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, or OCD, and have been prescribed antidepressants. So a group who tolerated the drug well, so they are getting benefits, and the group that took the drug but experienced adverse effects that they discontinued the drug. So we want to compare those two profiles. Yeah, the two things that they have to do, first they have to enroll for the study, and they have to fill out a one-time survey. And then we will send them a genetic testing kit to their home, and they will spit on a tube, and we will get or collect the saliva sample, and then we will do the genetic testing to compare these two groups.
If this study is successful, what impact could it have?
Yeah, broadly speaking, like there are very few groups in the world that have been investigating this to answer this question. So hopefully here in Manitoba as well as in Canada, there are another group that has been working on. So hopefully we can find some genomic tool which can ultimately help us how we prescribe these antidepressants for these kids. So prepare for guideline, or we can develop a guideline that can help or use as an additional tool for clinicians to personalize medication for these drugs.
Well, to learn more or to register as a participant, you can visit the website or call the number up on your screen right now. Dr. Maroof, thank you so much for sharing the information about your work tonight. It's great speaking with you.
Great speaking with you. Thank you.
Concerns tonight for those who rely on disability benefits. There are reports people have not received them. CTV's Adrian Gobriel now on the delay in direct deposits.
Canadians who depend on federal disability benefits have been left with an empty feeling at the ATM this week.
I checked and it's not there, and I went, okay, no breakfast.
In July, Ottawa began making payments through its new federal disability benefit that tops out at $200 a month for a total of $2,400 a year.
It lets them buy some essential over-the-counter painkillers, maybe, pay for their food, pay a backlog of bills and debt, pay their rent.
This past Thursday, Canadians living with a disability, like Victoria State, were supposed to receive the program's second payment. Many have been left empty-handed.
Excuse me, you started a program for people who are struggling.
CTV News called the Canada Disability Benefit Call Centre hotline. We were greeted with this voicemail.
Due to a system issue, some Canada Disability Benefit payments issued by direct deposit for the month of August 2025 will be delayed. We apologize for the inconvenience.
In March, Prime Minister Mark Carney eliminated multiple cabinet positions, including the now former Minister for Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disabilities. Advocates say issues like this are proof that Carney's move was a mistake.
This basically means that we are lumped into a huge portfolio that the current Minister of Jobs and Families is responsible for. So we are not a top priority.
We asked the federal government for an explanation as to why payments haven't been made. A spokesperson didn't directly answer our question, saying in part, they are pleased to confirm that the majority of CDB payments are completed. A limited number of client payments remain outstanding due to an isolated systems issue.
You don't start a program and then drop the ball. Thank you very much. You people are getting a paycheck. You got a paycheck because you can get food. I don't got a paycheck, and I got no food.
There is some good news late this afternoon. Following our questions to the federal government, we began to hear from some who say they've now received their deposits. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Aurora, Ontario. Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Another Manitoba summer weekend is here. We're going to show you some of the events happening around our province. And welcome back to Cape Side, why fans of Dawson Creek will not have to wait much longer for a reunion. The Spotlight coming up after the break.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Led Zepp again, the premier tribute.
August may be drawing to an end soon, but there's still a lot of events to fill your weekend. The Corn and Apple Festival is on in Morden. Enjoy 2 days of music at the Whoop and Holler Folk Festival in Portage La Prairie. Arden hosts the White Mud Music Festival, while Killarney has the Lakeside Festival. Donna Marrow headlines the Sakiway Festival and the North End Community Renewal Corporation's Picnic in the Park. A pair of rodeos buck their way into Rorkton and Toulon. And Wiener Fest promises some tail-wagging fun at Valley Garden Community Centre. You can find a full list of events this weekend on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. The Toronto International Film Festival is about 2 weeks away, and there's a lot to celebrate for its milestone 50th year. TIFF shared its final list of tribute award recipients. The awards honor outstanding contributions to cinema, and no list is complete without Canadian legend Catherine O'Hara. O'Hara will be receiving the Norman Jewison Career Achievement Award. Hollywood actor Channing Tatum will be handed the Performer Award, while Idris Elba will receive the award in Impact Media. The TIFF Tribute Awards will be held as a gala fundraiser September 7th. The film festival officially kicks off September 4th and runs until the 14th. Mariah Carey is adding another major honor to her legendary career, and it will be her first MTV Video Music Award.
I just want to thank all the fans for coming here today. Thank you so much.
The five-time Grammy winner will receive the 2025 MTV Video Music Awards Video Vanguard Award. Carey will also perform a medley of her greatest hits at the ceremony set for September 7th. Over her decades-long career, Carey has sold more than 220 million albums and scored 19 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100. That's more than any other artist, solo artist in history. Carey's latest studio album, titled Here for It All, drops September 26th. All right, well, fans of Dawson's Creek won't have to wait too much longer for a reunion. The cast is welcoming them back to Cape Side. That's a tough word to say. The cast is reunited for a live script reading of the show's pilot next month. James Van Der Beek, Katie Holmes, Michelle Williams, and Joshua Jackson, among others, will be there. It's part of an F Cancer event in New York City. Last fall, James Van Der Beek announced he was living with stage 3 colorectal cancer. Your primetime lineup starts this evening at 7 with Celebrity Jeopardy. At 8, settle in for back-to-back episodes of Fear Thy Neighbor. At 10, The Big Bang Theory, and at 10:30, it's E-Talk.
A must-see moment from last night's Bomber game, and it wasn't a touchdown or a great catch. It actually took place off the field. We will explain after the break.
Women's clothing provided by R.W. & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Now we'll get to your provincial forecast, or actually it doesn't, well, we may have a little bit of technical trouble. It looks like we're not going to be able to do that tonight, folks. I'm sorry, a little bit of trouble with my computer system this evening. But as for the weekend ahead, well, listen, it'll be a little cool for Winnipeg standards. I mentioned earlier, the normal high is 24 degrees. We'll drop down to around 13 or so tonight. Tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, very windy, up to around 18 degrees. Sunny Sunday, still hard to crack even 20 degrees. But as we go throughout the week, the temperature is just going to get warmer and warmer by the time we hit Wednesday or so, back up into the mid, even upper 20s in the sunshine.
Thanks, Colleen. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers came away with a big win over the Montreal Alouettes last night, and it was Brady Oliveira leading the charge. The CFL's reigning most outstanding player scored a key touchdown in the fourth quarter to give Winnipeg a 26-13 victory. The win improves the Bombers' record to 6 wins, 4 losses, while the Alouettes now drop to their fourth game in a row. The Blue Bombers will visit the league-leading Saskatchewan Roughriders on August 31st in the Labor Day Classic. And take a look at this adorable moment that took place during the game.
And you got to see this one fan and how excited. Look how excited she is.
Oh my gosh!
It's Brady! Oh my gosh, Brady! Look how amazing this is. Isn't that awesome?
Brady.
Brady Oliveira shared a hug with that very excited fan. She was holding up that poster cheering him on, and he made sure to pause and make the moment extra special for her. I think she was surprised he was coming over. I was reading lips, and
I sure was too. I would say so. Yeah, that right there, yes. I think she left her body for a minute there.
This is happening.
Yes, good for her. Very exciting.
Very exciting.
Very nice.
And what
Brady
a game
Oliveira.
for Brady.
Yes,
last
wonderful.
night. All right, Bombers looking good ahead of the Labor Day Classic. This weekend, though, all about our Sea Bears and the big basketball street party.
Big party right
downtown.
there, right now. Maybe you can hear it.
We sure can.
We sure can.
Have a good time, whatever sports you're playing this weekend. We'll see you back here Monday.